All right, we're live.
All right, good evening, everyone. It is 6 p.m. on Monday, June 7th. Tonight's meeting is the monthly community zoning information meeting for the city of South Fulton. My name is Nathan Lombardo. I'm the planning and zoning administrator for the city. I'm joined on this call tonight by Marissa Jackson and Dana Gray, who are both planners on our staff. Tonight's meeting is informational for all the residents. We will be taking comments and fielding some questions, but remember there are no decisions being made tonight and no board members on this call either. We can go to the next slide, please. And I do want to thank everyone for joining. We have a large agenda tonight. I think we're going to go through 9 or 10 cases. I know I've spent all day making 65 slides. So we'll make sure to get through everything for everybody. So tonight, please send all of your comments to the planning email address, which is planning@cityofsouthfultonga.gov. A lot of people forget to put the GA at the end of South Fulton, so just remember it's planning@cityofsouthfultonga.gov. We're not going to read the YouTube chat. We'll just be responding to emails. If we miss your email tonight, please still send it and we'll make sure to respond back to you in the coming days. Just some reminders for the upcoming meetings tonight. We have rezonings, concurrent variances, and use permits will be heard the June 15th Planning Commission meeting. That is next Tuesday. They will then be at the July 14th Council zoning hearing. The Council zoning hearing is on a Wednesday this month. It's normally on a Tuesday, but July 14th is a Wednesday. Variances will be heard at the June 17th Zoning Board of Appeals meeting, which is next Thursday. And modifications will also be heard at the July 14th, again, Wednesday, Council zoning hearing. And you're going to have a little bit of everything tonight. You have a big agenda. Next slide, please. So we're going to jump right in it. The first case is M21005, a modification at 7580 Rivertown Road. Next slide, please. Here the petitioner is requesting a modification to a previously approved site plan in order to develop new homes. The current zoning is CUP and will remain that way. Project is for 23 estate homes, and this is not part of a larger development. So this one parcel will be sectioned off by itself. We can go to the next slide, please. The parcel in question is in the very middle of the screen, right to the right of the pin drop. Go to the next slide, please. As you can see, it's undeveloped. This is our current zoning and future land use map. You'll see the zone CUP and is designated as rural neighborhood in the future land use map. The modification proposal is in compliance with that designation. Go to the next slide, please. This is the map of what is currently approved for the site. In the previous CUP, you will see it was a subdivision, and I believe they crammed 55 or 56 homes on this one parcel of land. There is an existing pond on the site that will most certainly stay there and be featured. We can go to the next slide, please. This is the most current site plan for the proposed new development. There are 23 large estate lots. They will be, we'll have to ask the petitioner the specific size, but multi-acre lots, one home per lot, and a very small subdivision here. So the intent here is to have very large, high-end homes. I'm gonna go to the next slide. And there are some renderings that were sent in of some of the proposed home styles. You see some ranging from more classically styled homes to modern architecture. But again, the very large lots are the intent here. Are the petitioners on the call with us tonight? You can go ahead and unmute if this is your case. I know I saw them on the call, so if they're still there, feel free to unmute right now. Mr. Maurice?
Okay, I'm
go.
sorry. I didn't know you were referring to me. Yes.
Sure. Well, the floor is yours to make any comments you'd like. If you have anything else you'd like to share, we can arrange for that as well.
Okay, we just want to state that the subdivision is quite different from what was originally planned for the area. These lots are of course larger, and the price is a little bit higher than was planned before. We're going from 750 to maybe 2 million, some of these houses. The idea is to bring some high-end homes to South Fulton. And we do have the clientele that are willing to move into these homes as soon as we get it started.
Yes, it will certainly remain residential. Is there anything else that I missed or that you feel is pertinent to share about this project at this time?
Yes, because of the size of the lots and the minimum amount of land disturbance that's going to happen, there's going to be minimal effect on the environment. Most of the trees are going to stay in place. There'll be not much stress on the existing infrastructure in terms of traffic or the, in fact, there is no sanitary sewer because we're going to be using a septic system. So we believe that is ideal for this part of South Fulton and that the need is there for it.
All right, well, thank you very much. If there's nothing else, Dana, has any relevant comments come into the planning email address or to your email address concerning this case?
No.
All right, well, thank you very much. And we can move on to our next case. M21006 and CB21006, modification and concurrent variance at 0 Oakley Industrial Drive. Next slide, please. The petitioner here is requesting a modification to the existing zoning in order to develop a mixed-use apartment complex. Current zoning is MIX and will remain the same. The proposal here includes 10 apartment buildings and a clubhouse. Total is for 322 units and 2,500 square feet of retail. The petitioner here is also asking for 2 concurrent variances, one to reduce the amount of parking and the other to reduce the size of the required landscape strip. We can go to the next slide, please. This is the parcel in question. It is essentially the exact center of your screen. You can see to the upper right, the Renaissance and South Park. That is a townhome community that is currently almost completely finished being constructed. At the sort of square-shaped parcel immediately to the left of those townhomes, that is going to be a soon-to-be-placed hotel. There's already an existing hotel next to it. So this project is going to be basically in the middle of your screen, right bordering Oakley Industrial, bordering the Hampton Inn, and bordering the apartment complex. We can go to the next slide, please. Here we have the zoning map and future land use map. On the left is the zoning. You can see it is zoned MIX. And on the right is the future land use map. This is already an allowed use based on the current zoning conditions for the site. Go to the next slide, please. This is the old previous site plan that was submitted for this project. Right in the center of your screen, you'll see it says Pod 1, and this is the general area that is going to be changed. And it will be covering this area. And you will see when we drop the new site plan on the next slide, you will see how it covers this area up. Here's the new proposed site plan. You can see the apartment complexes, associated parking, the amenity area and clubhouse is in the middle. The retail component is facing Oakley Industrial Drive, right on the lower left of your screen. We can go to the next slide, please. These are renderings sent in by the petitioner. This is the proposed rendering of a clubhouse showing not just the design, but the materials that have been selected for the site as well. This is the clubhouse. You can go to the next slide, please. And this is the proposed rendering of one of the apartment buildings that would be on the site. I believe that the petitioners are on the call tonight and the floor is yours.
Great. Thanks, Nathan. Let me turn on video here. Yeah, thanks, Nathan, for the introduction. Craig and myself, I'm Ryan Oros, and Craig Gearhart also is accompanying me. First off, thanks for letting us present, and Nathan, thanks for the introduction. You've been very helpful with the feedback so far. To Nathan's point, the play and the plan here for us is when we looked at the property, looking at I-85 and Sonoya Highway, and seeing there's 2 rows with the Chick-fil-A and the Dunkin' Donuts and the hotel and the strip centers being 2 rows behind off the major highway, and then the townhomes, as Nathan previously mentioned. We looked at what would be the likely use. Obviously, as he mentioned, the mix designation allows for a variety of residential uses. And we felt that it's just a phenomenal buffer use of doing a well-planned, high quality, but attainable type housing option that quite frankly doesn't really exist right now in the city of South Fulton, at least in this district. And our goal really thoughtfully, I think we're on version 5 of our really layout, is to be thoughtful of creating green spaces that are not just green for the sake of being green, but actually are functional. And again, the planning department has been very helpful with their comments. And so really the plan, this elevation, as Craig can dive into a bit more, the materials and the use of color schemes and things we're going to fine tune a bit more with the planning department actually tomorrow. But nonetheless, yeah, we felt the use was ideal. It fits a housing gap option that doesn't exist, which is our main focus, creating a safe, high quality type neighborhood that for those who don't want to purchase or can't purchase at this time, or quite frankly don't have an interest, gives them a nice option of a community that has a lot of amenities. We're really going to focus a lot on that and create a community that quite frankly we're proud of, and hopefully the city of South Fulton will be proud of as well. Craig, if you want to do a quick intro on your part and
Sure.
maybe tap into some elevations as well.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan, and thank you, Nathan, for that introduction. I'll just quickly introduce, speaking for Graystar on behalf of this project. We are here locally as a rental housing owner, builder, and manager. We've built well over 15 communities in the Atlanta metro and managed north of 70 communities around the Atlanta metro, and really excited to work with Ryan on this opportunity alongside the city of South Fulton. So really right now we've gone through a number of iterations of the plan that Ryan mentioned. There's 10 buildings on the site. There are 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units contemplated in these buildings. Most are 3 stories. Some will have half of the building be 3-story and the back half will be 4-story to make up the topographic challenges that we have as the buildings kind of approach the creek area that was shown on the site plan. All of those areas are left undisturbed per the city buffer requirements. As far as the clubhouse goes, we saw some quick renderings and elevations of those buildings. There'll be plenty of resident amenities in those buildings, co-working spaces, lounge areas, a pool courtyard, an area. There'll be a food truck pavilion planned in that outdoor space as an amenity to the residents as well. And then the retail space up at the corner in one of those buildings, 2,500 square feet is planned in addition. So I think I do have quickly, Nathan, a snapshot of what the interiors of the building might look like, if I could show that on the screen, if that's possible.
Sure, Marissa, is it possible for you to allow me to share a screen?
Awesome, thank you. Let me know if y'all can see these. These are just examples of like-kind projects that we're working on, and certainly kind of the quality intent of the unit interiors that we're planning and programming for this project in particular. So, and that's really all I had. Happy to answer any questions.
Dana, Marissa, have any emails come in to your emails or to the planning email address?
Nope, I do not have any for this petition.
I don't believe the ones that were sent to all of us are about this case either. So, all right, thank you very much. And we can move on to the next case.
Thanks, Nathan.
Thank you all.
Hey, Nathan, this is Steve Rothman. I wanted to ask, if our case has been called and heard, do y'all have a general conversation piece at the end, or are we excused after the case is
You're
heard?
excused. Tonight is just an informational meeting, and so there's no board decisions or anything like that tonight. So the next time we will have a public hearing for this will be the planning commission meeting. Or this is a modification, so you'll be at council.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yep.
All right.
All right.
Thank
Thank you all. Have a good
Thanks
night.
so much. All right, our next case. V21002, a variance at 1105 Research Center Drive. Go to the next slide, please. Petitioner here is requesting a variance in the number of signs allowed on one building in the Cascade overlay. They're asking for a total of 6 new signs, and this is for a Walmart. The Walmart is already there. They're just doing some cosmetic upgrades to their building. They've also applied for administrative variance for the colors of the signs, which they are in compliance with. I know sometimes the brighter colors can catch people off guard, but these signs will all be okay in terms of the coloring. The signage is the standard Walmart package for all their new stores, and everyone will recognize these signs. We can go to the next slide, please. This is just an aerial map showing where the Walmart is. I'm sure most people watching and in the community are familiar with it. We can go to the next slide, please. Here's the zoning and future land use, showing it is commercial and everything is in compliance here. Next slide, please. Here is the rendering of the front of the building. Because the building is so large, I had to split it in half to fit on here. But if you would see the store right now, it's a lot more beige, and they're just putting more of the corporate colors on here and upgrading their signs to new logos, new fonts, and doing some light touching up and updating to their building facade as well. So this is what a standard Walmart, again, your standard Walmart sign package, what almost all the new Walmarts are looking like. So they're just updating the exterior of the existing building. We can go to the next slide, please. Same for the side. There will be a sign on the front of the building for a new health center they're putting in there. And so we want to make sure that we showed the side of the building so you could see that the sign would be visible on the side elevation. Let me go to the next slide. And this is just a picture of the text and details of the new signs. These will all be standard white. I believe the Walmart star is yellow, and then the building will have some blue and beige on it as well. Is anyone from this case on this call tonight?
Yes, Nathan, this is David Kirk with Trouton and Pepper Hamilton Sanders representing Walmart.
Well, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much for that introduction. And my colleague, Jenna Lee, who's been working on this, is also on the call. As you noted, what we're seeking is a variance to allow additional signage beyond the single sign that is currently on the building that simply says Walmart. And what we're looking to do is, well, what we're doing right now is we have permit applications in for a remodel of the store itself, a refreshing of the store itself, as well as the addition of a new Walmart health clinic, which is about a 6,000 square foot clinic that offers primary health services and dental services to the community. This is a fairly new concept that Walmart has rolled out in the past year or so, really piloting it here in Georgia. So this will be one of the very first in the immediate metro area. The ones that have opened to this point have been up in places like Dallas, Loganville, other places down in the South metro area like Fayetteville. So this will be a new amenity that's really been quite popular. So the signage that we're asking for is really to help folks with wayfinding. I'm sure folks are familiar with Walmarts and how large they are. That's one of the challenges is when you pull into the lot, which door is the home and pharmacy, which door is the grocery. Where do you go to pick up? If you ordered online, where's the pickup? So the signage is really intended to assist the customer find their way to the appropriate location within the store, or in the case of the new clinic, to find their way to the clinic building itself, which will be attached to the existing supercenter. The size or the number of signage that we're asking for is really very similar to what the Home Depot nearby has. I believe they have four signs in front that say nursery, the Home Depot sign, contractor pickup, and then the tool rental center. So just as Home Depot has done, we're just looking to help the customer get to where they want to be most efficiently and effectively, and quite frankly, safely. So we're happy to answer any questions that folks may have. We appreciate the opportunity to share this with you, and we look forward to continuing to serve the community.
Thank you very much. Dana, Marissa, have any emails come in to either of your email addresses on this case?
No.
No, I have not received any either.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. And we can move on to our next case.
All right. Thank you all. Have a good evening.
You do the same. U21004, a use permit at 2220 Jonesboro Road. We can go to our next slide, please. Here, the petitioner is requesting a use permit for a salon. This is for a business with a salon suites concept that I know many people are familiar with now. A lot of salons coming online are moving to this concept instead, where each individual stylist has their own room as opposed to being in one large room together. The location here had previously been a salon. This is just a new business that's being opened. And the current zoning is C1, which allows for the use. We can go to the next slide, please. The building is right in the center of your screen. You'll see there it's in an existing shopping center. Go to the next slide, please. Here you see the future land use and zoning for the property, showing that everything is in line with where it needs to be. Go to the next slide, please. Here is a view of the proposed salon. You'll see each of the stylists will have their own stations, with some larger stations for hair washing. Are the petitioners on this call with us this evening?
Good evening. My name is Steve Maxey. I'm with Hale Retail Group. We represent the investor group that owns this property. And yeah, both of the partners that are owners of this business are on the call.
The floor is yours.
Dee and Jim, unmute your mics if you would, so you can speak to any questions that they may have.
Yeah, we're open to take any questions that you might have regarding the salon.
Is there anything that I missed in my description or anything that you would like to add to this?
No, I think what you outlined was right and exact in regards to what it is that we're offering. We believe that this new concept that you spoke of is definitely needed in that area. We've taken a few tours in that area, and we don't see anything that looks remotely close to what it is that we're bringing for the area. We believe that it will be a great value add to the existing businesses that are there, considering the foot traffic that we have at our previous location. So, you know, with that, I believe that everything has already been outlined in the package that we submitted, you know, but we are open for any questions that you might have.
I might add to that what you see on your screen currently reflects the proposed build out. It's a large open space currently, and they will spend a considerable sum modernizing and bringing the upfit to fit what is currently on your screen.
Sounds good. Thank you. Have any emails come in about this case, Dana and Marissa?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. And we will see you at the Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We can go to the next slide, please. Z21003, a rezoning at 4295 and 4301 Roosevelt Highway. Go to the next slide, please. Petitioner here is requesting a rezoning from AG1 and C2 to M2 to put all of their property, the petitioner owns multiple parcels, under one classification. The current use is for a metal fabricating company. They basically make stair handrails and decorative metal objects for your home. There's no melting of ore or creating of metal. It's all fabricating of supplies for other uses. This use and the rezoning request are both in compliance with the future land use map. This case has been at a previous CZIM a few months ago, and it was seen at the April Planning Commission meeting, but deferred to the next meeting, which is this month, because the petitioner had made mention of moving forward with construction of a building that we had not anticipated moving so quickly forward with. And so the Planning Commission wanted to make sure that the renderings were submitted, and we have those for review or presentation tonight. Again, this will be at the next Planning Commission meeting as a carryover from the previous month. So we can go to the next slide, please. The parcels in question are right in the center of your screen under the pin, and it is some awkwardly shaped parcels, but you will see on the next slide, it is the conglomeration of a few parcels together make up the entire site. You'll see here the zoning map and future land use map. The parcels in question are the ones highlighted in blue on the left, but all of the parcels that are sort of triangular shaped and long skinny shaped zoned M2 in the center of your screen are the ones that make up this site. They're all owned by the same property owner. And as you can see on the right, they are all in an industrial zone. So the rezoning request is in line with the land use map. Go to the next slide, please. This is the general overall site plan for the very front of the property. As I said, there was a long skinny piece that hits Roosevelt Highway. You'll see parking for staff presented here, and a new building footprint fronting Roosevelt Highway. We can go to the next slide. Here you'll see the renderings of the proposed building, 3-story brick. The building would have had to be in compliance with all architectural requirements of the city and all conditions that would be imposed. Are the petitioners on this call tonight?
Yes, this is Charles Staffens on the property.
All right, sir, the floor is yours. Let me know if there's anything you want to add or anything that I missed.
And Daryl's on there, I believe, as well, but I appreciate the time. And the building is just, I mean, it's a basic concept. We're in the steel business, and we want to try to expose as much steel as we can. We did a brick and glass, but I think as we continue to develop the exterior, I think, we want to have some more exposed steel. As you see, I've got a steel canopy that's going to come out in the front. It's a drive under. I've got some steel railings at the top where we'll have some area at the top for people to come outside, and then we probably will have, a little bit of exposed steel and glass and brick in our final concept. But just want to try to give you an idea of what we're proposing here.
Thank you much. Dana Mercer, did any emails come in on this one? I'm scanning my email addresses or my emails as well. I don't see any that I have.
No.
And like I said, this was a carryover from the Planning Commission. So certainly the Planning Commission will have some additional questions or comments for you at their meeting next week. I know they're looking forward to seeing this one.
Okay.
I'm glad you got, thank you for getting these elevations into us.
All right.
All right, thanks so much. And we can move on to the next case. Z2104 and CV2105, a rezoning and concurrent variance at 0 Yates Road. For the next slide, please. Petitioner here is requesting a rezoning from NUP to MIX for the purpose of contracting. That should be constructing. So if I mistype and it's still spelled correctly, that's spell check won't catch it. So I apologize for that one. Constructing a mixed-use apartment complex with a focus on senior living. The development will consist of 114 units in 18 buildings, which I think I counted correctly, along with a few thousand square feet of ground floor retail. The petitioner is also requesting, with a rezoning, a future land use change from suburban neighborhood to regional live work to accommodate their proposed density. I'm going to go to the next slide, please. Petitioner here also has concurrent variances in order to reduce the off-street parking requirement, reduce the size of the landscape strip, reduce the size of the side yard buffer. Autocorrect didn't help me again there, I apologize. And allow for a road to be built in the improvement setback. The next slide, please.
Hey,
The site is
I'm in a
directly.
6 a.m. meeting.
Hi, could we mute ourselves, please? Thank you so much. The site here is directly below the pin on the site, bordering Yates Road and 285, right above the apartment complex. That is, where it says Lester Chapel United Methodist. Underneath that is an apartment complex, and the parcel in question is directly above that is an undeveloped site at the corner of Hathcock and Yates Road, sort of cat-a-corner to the church. And we all know that parcel of the logistics company is no longer a dirt parcel, but in fact a fully constructed logistics facility right there now. Go to the next slide, please. And here you have the parcel zoning on the left showing NUP, and on the right, the current future land use map showing how a land use map amendment will be necessary to accommodate this request. Go to the next slide, please. Here we have the most up-to-date site plan for this parcel. Yates Road is obviously on the bottom of the screen. You see an exterior road being built surrounding the site, buildings surrounding green space in the center, and ground floor retail on the center lane with on-street parking for that retail there. Up and go to the next slide, please. These are some renderings that were submitted of the typical construction that would be on the site. They want to keep the buildings here more of a pedestrian scale and want to make sure that it doesn't look like big apartment buildings from the street. So it is designed to look more like townhomes or single family residences. And if the petitioners are online, the floor is now yours.
Hi, thanks, Nathan. My name is Donald Washington. I'm the founding principal of Bolston Real Estate Partners. I'm joined with my colleague, Jeff Haymore from Dillard Sellers. Nathan, if you would allow me to share my screen, I just want to provide a little bit more context. Thank
Sure,
you.
Marissa, if you could give Donald access. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. As Nathan mentioned, this project will be actually 120 stacked townhome units. It's a 55 and up community. We really wanted to create a space that was really conducive to health and well-being. As you can see within our site plan, we have a significant amount of green space, wide open spaces, as well as a number of tucked courtyards to promote health and wellness and outdoor living. What you'll see labeled here in green are the proposed commercial uses. And then what you'll see in yellow are the proposed amenity spaces. And we spent a significant amount of time speaking with Councilman Willis, Nathan, and staff. We also spent a significant amount of time talking with the residents of the community as well. What I'll share on the second slide are just kind of the results of some of those conversations. 1 second, let me pull up this second slide. Perfect. Okay, and as I mentioned, this is a 55 and up community, really targeting empty nesters, folks who are looking to lead an active social lifestyle and want to have the freedom of more of a low maintenance townhome living. So it'll be 120 rental units, really with the peaked roofs. Wanted to create an architectural structure that was compatible with the surrounding residential homes. And we had 2 virtual community engagement events, and we had 1 in-person event. And a lot of the feedback that we've received initially was really centered around parking, we're centered around amenities that the community wanted to see. And so I'll share briefly just an overview of what we're currently proposing. So it's 120 units. We'll have 174 units for that entire site. It'll be a mix between covered parking for each resident as well as on-street parking that's all within the interior streets. There'll be no parking on any exterior streets along the Yates Road. The project will be 100% self-contained. And this is just kind of an overview of what that could potentially look like. And then we want to be mindful of emergency vehicles, just flow as well. And so this is just kind of an outline of what some of those interior street parking spots will look like, along with just two-way traffic to promote safety, to promote a reduced speed. And then talking with the residents, we consider some of our retail uses. We've gotten feedback around small footprint grocery stores, what we're considering, potentially a laundry and dry cleaning center as well. We're also looking at, in the effort to again promote health and wellness, having a wellness center for our residents, also opening it up to a small footprint coffee shop or restaurant, and then also having a larger clubhouse where residents can network, they can gather to discuss volunteer events, and just continue in a journey of building community. The designs for this project will be very flexible. They'll consist of a number of rooftop terraces that overlook a lot of the green space that you saw in the previous slide. There'll be balconies on the front end and back ends of each of the units. They'll be accessible to where each structure can house either 2 to 3 individual tenants. So this bottom row here could serve as amenity space or retail space, with a tenant on the second level and a tenant on the third level, or a combination of the two. And this is just kind of a brief highlight of the preliminary unit plans that we currently have in place, where you'll see covered parking for each of the residents, and then designated interior street parking for residents as well. This is another view, just really highlighting the intimate courtyards throughout that we wanted to have. We really wanted to promote outdoor living, health and wellness. So in addition to being able to view and engage with your neighbors on their balconies, there's also ability for, whether it be an outdoor movie event or outdoor yoga, etc. We want to promote that throughout the entire site. And so again, thinking about scale, we wanted to be able to engage as many folks as possible, but also didn't want to go to the traditional 5-story apartment building. We really wanted something that was attractive and compatible to the surrounding residents, and elevate the design and really be thoughtful in how we engage this project in being compatible with the surrounding residents. And here's just, if you're actually on this street itself, just wanted to give a view of scale and just how everything flows. We have enough room for emergency vehicles, pedestrians to walk freely with curb sidewalks on each side. There'll be vegetation on each side as well. And then I'll land here. Nathan kind of shared this before, but just an overview of the front elevation of the project as well. Just again, promoting community engagement, just really providing something that was high design, something that also spoke to just compatibility with the existing community today. And so I'll pause there and allow Jeff, if he had any additional comments related to our variances that we're requesting.
Thanks, Donald. Sure. The variance, as outlined by Nathan a little earlier, is simply to reduce the parking. It's a modest request of just 22 spaces. Each unit will have at least one covered space, as well as internal spaces for those that might be patronizing the retail component. And then the other couple smaller variances: front yard along Yates, 20-foot landscape strip. We're requesting a reduction down to 10. That'll be in keeping with the urbanistic look of the project. And then up on the north property line, which is a side property line, 25-foot undisturbed buffer, reducing that down to 15. Ultimately, right now on the site, it's heavily wooded, and there'll be more than adequate undisturbed tree buffer between the most impacted property line. You're going to have 15 feet of those trees, as well as an additional 10 feet of new landscaping. And so there'll be adequate buffering but we need that small reduction in order to install the driveway that loops around the project. And so those are the concurrent variances that we seek.
Thank you guys so much. Dana, Marissa, have you seen any emails come in regarding this case here?
I do. I have one question from Atlanta real estate lady. She asked, will this development increase the property value of surrounding residents? And given the location, would professional office space and or retail restaurant space be a better fit?
Yeah, so right now, I'll address the second question first. You know, we're still seeking feedback from the community. We've engaged community early on. Some of the proposed uses on the retail space is just direct from some of those conversations. And as we continue down this path of gaining more insight, we'll work with local brokers to get, you know, more feedback as well and just understand the highest and best use for that particular site. Right now, these are the proposed uses that just kept coming to the top of the list. And so we wanted to at least start the dialogue with incorporating some of those based on community feedback.
Okay, I have another one from Sonia Patterson. Is this okay. I'm not sure if this area is best suited for mixed use to include home sites. We have been asking for development of upscale retail and restaurants. Given its proximity to the interstate, wouldn't it make sense to have this area have this instead? Maybe there are other areas this developer would be willing to consider for development. And do we have details on what those specs are for the development? The paperwork seems like it's purposely vague. I'd like to know what they are proposing, what types of business. Will there be retail? Will there be restaurants? What kind? What about the request to add more professional office spaces? We have some fairly rundown commercial spaces up and down Fulton Industrial. They don't seem to attract business we would like to see in the area. Instead, how about adding commercial office space like we have over by the new Publix, so we can have medical services, we can have a mixture like they have on Sonoya Road in Tyrone where the Publix is. There's medical there, restaurants, retail, and large grocery store. I would like the city to consider something like this instead of what is being proposed at the moment.
Okay, and I appreciate the comment. And what I'll do is just kind of talk a little bit about my process. So when I came to the site initially, the very first thing that I did was went out, connected with the city councilwoman, talked to some of the local neighbors to just really get a feel for what was needed and where the need was. And then I took that feedback and requested third-party insight to give me more clarity around what the need is in that community. And what was glaring based on the city's strategy plan, as well as the third-party research, was an overwhelming need for seniors to be able to have a place to age in place. And there was a severe wait list at all of the other facilities that were equivalent to what I'm proposing. And so my specific goal was to go in and fill this need. I'm sure the community has a number of needs. This is one. You know, I'm a residential developer. This is where my expertise and skill set lies the most. And so where I saw a need to have housing for seniors 55 and up, that's where I feel like I can add the most value. And then in addition to that, I just wanted to also have something that a retail and commercial use space that would elevate that particular project, as well as allow for amenities that the community can enjoy as well. And so every step that we've taken so far has really been community feedback driven. And some of the proposed uses, the coffee shop, the potential restaurant, the wellness center, fitness center, those were all direct feedback from local residents. And so we'll continue gathering feedback, but that's how I've kind of come to where we are at this moment.
Okay, I have one more from Machama Quinishet. Question regarding the senior center. Are the apartments / townhomes multi-story or ranch? They look like multi-story homes. Are they wheelchair accessible?
Yeah, so these are stacked townhomes. So each level can be an individual unit. Some units will have just direct street walk-up access. Some will actually be connected through an elevator. We'll have wheelchair accessible as well. And today, about 76%, a little north of 70%, 76% of the entire site is meant for individuals who may have moderate mobility or very low mobility.
And that's it from my side.
Okay,
Thank you guys very much. Really appreciate it. And we will see you at the Planning Commission meeting.
Sounds good. Thanks.
All right, we can go on to the next case, Marissa. This is Z21006 and CV21007, a rezoning at 0 Oakley Road. This will be a quick one, I know. We can go to the next slide. This case is being deferred until the July Planning Commission meeting. The petitioner here had got a lot of community feedback, and so they will be back at the July CZIM on the 12th for the July Planning Commission meeting. So that's Z21006 and CV21007. We will get them, pick them back up next month. We'll go to the next slide, please. Z21007, a rezoning at 5275 Old National Highway. Next slide, please. Thank you much. This is a request of rezoning from C1 to C2 to allow for a tire repair shop in an existing building sharing a site with a Citgo gas station. The building has been previously operated as a tire shop. This would be for a new business. The proposal here is in compliance with the future land use map. You can go to the next slide, please. The parcel in question is in the very center of your screen. Now you can see the Citgo at the corner of Jolly and Old National Highway. Thank you so much. I love the cursor action. Next slide, please. Here we have the future land use map on the left and the zoning on the right, showing that it is in compliance with the current situation on the ground. Next slide, please. Here is a basic site plan of what is going on here. As I said, the Citgo is existing, the building is existing. The business or the building in question has been used as a tire repair shop in the past, but due to the changes in our zoning code, it is now a use permit is required. I'm sorry, it's in a different zoning designation. My apologies for misspeaking. So that's why they're asking for this rezoning. Again, but this is a business that has been there in similar form before. And if the petitioner is on the call, the floor is yours.
Yeah, Nathan, thank you so much. So I'm representing my parents who have operated a business here and who own the property for the past 2 decades. We had a tire repair shop. I think it was probably sometime early 2020 and a few years before that as well. And so really this rezoning request is to be in compliance with the new zoning code and to make sure that we can operate both the gas station and the tire repair shop on the property.
All right, thank you very much. Dana, I think we got one email in about this one.
I have 2 actually.
Okay, the floor is yours.
So Atlanta real estate lady states the owner needs to abide by current zoning rules. If not, then reconsider developing another business more in line with current zoning and the desires of the constituents. And the second one is honestly, apologies. This is from Sonia Patterson. Honestly, do we need another tire repair, car service shop on Old National? I don't think so. The city of South Fulton decidedly adopted a new zoning ordinance on December 8th, 2020, which reclassified the property. And I am sure this was done to improve the area. I do not think it is the city of South Fulton's intent to institute new ordinance and then provide an opportunity for business to find a way to wiggle around them. If the owner is not able to accommodate its business to the current revised zoning requirements, there are other options that business owners may need to consider such as moving to another location. Please vote no. FD planning.
All right, thank you so much.
Check
That's the end of the emails. We can move on to the next slide.
Oh, one more. I have
All right,
one
sure.
more. Yeah. Parking, this is from Michael Venable. Parking space requirement is not in place. Let me just check to see if I have any more for number 7.
We'll of course check that, but obviously keep in mind that any business would have to maintain the required parking that is dictated in our code. So that's something that will certainly be reviewed.
And that is it.
All right, thank you so much. And we can go on to the next case, or next slide rather, please.
I think we had one more question from
Sure.
Soledad Tillman, and she asked, will the businesses stay the same?
Yeah, so I guess that's meaning like, will the business still be a gas station?
I'm not all the way sure what she meant by that, but that's what I'm assuming.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, the business will still remain a gas station. It'll still be a Citgo gas station. Really, we just haven't had the tire repair shop operational for the past couple months. So this is really to help to tenants who had previously invested a lot of money into the tire repair shop business. And they, unfortunately could not get their business license due to the moratorium. And so this will also allow them to continue their business if the rezoning is approved. And again, just a quick note that this business has operated with a tire repair shop or some sort of business in that second building on the property for the past 2 decades. So really, we're just trying to maintain the status quo after the rezoning, after the zoning ordinance got updated.
All right, thank you very much. All right, I guess we can move on. Perfect. Thank you so much. Next is Z21008 and CV21003, a rezoning and concurrent variance at 0 Enon Road. You're welcome, Marissa. Next slide, please. And to be short and sweet to everybody, the petitioner has withdrawn this application. They did get a lot of feedback from the community and decided to not move forward with this case at this time. So it is off all agendas. We can go to the next slide, please. Z21009, a rezoning at 7445 Old National Highway. Next slide, please. The petitioner here is requesting a rezoning from C1 to MIX for the purpose of developing a townhome community with a commercial parcel fronting Old National. The current proposal is for 69 townhomes. The commercial component does not yet have a proposed use or building. It is just a lot in the front of this development, which you will see in the site plan. The proposal is in compliance with the zoning allowances in the future land use map. You can go to the next slide, please. The parcel is in the center of your screen. You see Jackson's Music Store, and it is surrounding Jackson's Music Store right in the middle of the screen. That is correct. Here we have the future land use on the left, the current zoning on the right, and it is for those collections of parcels that are around that blue parcel right there. So you have the blue parcel, and then there's 2, 3 triangular looking parcels below it, and it's for all of those. Next slide, please. Here's the basic site plan, a preliminary site plan for this site, showing the lots for townhomes. The parcel in the upper right of the screen is the commercial retail component without a current proposal there. Again, the music store is in the center of the screen on the right. That is a 2-unit building that is not owned by this landowner, and it will remain there. And I know that that particular the owner or the owner of the property or the owner of that business has been in contact with me several times. So this is the current proposal for the site. Is the petitioner on the call with us this evening?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Dwayne Martin. I'm an attorney in Atlanta, Georgia. Along with me this evening is my colleague and the project manager for this application, Harold Singer. We represent the Developer Executive Real Estate LLC in this rezoning application. I'll defer to Harold. I believe that the outline from staff was sufficient to provide general information about the project. Harold, is there anything you would like to add at this point?
That there is an assemblage along Jonesboro Road that will remain R3 and act as a buffer for the residents that it backs up to. So that parcel will remain as it is currently zoned R3.
So this is the parcel at the corner of West and Old National?
Correct. Further right, well, you can't see my arrow, but the area that it is brown more so on Jonesboro Road. Well, yes, R3 and then AG1 right there. That portion will remain R3.
Yes, correct.
That's all I wanted to add.
Okay. Dana, Marissa, any comments or emails that have come in about this proposal?
Yes, I do, from Atlanta real estate lady. Let's see, number 9. What is the size of the units? Who is the target market? I'll start with those 2 questions for you, but there's more. And these questions will be for the petitioner.
Yeah, Mr. Martin, Mr. Singer, those are questions for you.
Okay. Well, the proposed size for the unit right now are between 18 to 2,000 square feet. They will be comprised of a combination of 3.2 and 3.2.5 with 2-car garages. All the design and building materials will comply with Section 511 of the Old National Highway Overlay District.
Okay, the next question was, who is the target market?
The proposed target market is first-time home buyers or home buyers who are looking for a low maintenance option versus a single family infill housing.
Okay, what amenities are planned? Will there be a pool, clubhouse?
At this time, there are no plans for a pool or a clubhouse in the amenity package.
Okay, will you have amenities?
Not at this time, but that's still in discussion.
The last question is, what green space development is planned for the 13 acres?
The 13 acres that is actually planned to be will remain the same as it is now. We may enter in discussions to make sure that it maintains the stream buffer and that it is currently performing the function that it is currently performing.
Okay, this is a new comment from Sonia Patterson. In looking at the information online in the petition to change from C1 to mix, if the city of South Fulton zoned this for commercial, wondering why residential units are being proposed, why that specific location?
Let me comment on that one real quick. I just will say that the MIX zoning is an allowed option for rezoning in the future land use map, which is why this was brought as an option right now.
Okay. Next question is, who is the developer of this mixed use proposed development?
I'll speak to that question. Executive Real Estate Incorporated is the developer. It's a local Atlanta developer that's worked in Metro Atlanta for many years. They've done developments in and around the city of Atlanta. The most recent development was in Southwest Atlanta off of Baker's Ferry Road. It's a active senior development that breaks ground later this summer. So it's an active developer with local ties to the community and proven track record.
Okay, the next question is, what do the planned units look like? I see a very flat plat map that really isn't giving me a good picture of what is planned in this area. Can we have more visuals on what this looks like?
I will add here that the Planning Commission and Mayor and Council ultimately are going to require rendering. So we're going to have to get those documents in from you. And I would also say it's very likely they're going to want to see some type of action on that commercial parcel as well at the same time. So I would make plans to make notes to be able to address that when you're in front of the boards.
And I will say, for the record, those documents are in production. We plan to present floor plans and elevations and renderings for the development.
Okay, the next question is, can we know more about the developers so we can see some of what the other finished projects look like?
We're happy to provide any comments or documentation to the staff as it relates to the developer's experience.
Okay, the next question is, what is the proposed price points for these homes?
Initially, with the initial discussions, the price points were between the low 200s to mid 200,000 price range, but given some of the disruption in the materials cost, that is in flux right now. But generally, the price point is between low 200s to the mid 250,000 range.
Okay. And then how large will the units be?
We addressed that earlier,
Yes,
1,800 to 2,000 square feet.
Yep, you did. And what amenities that was addressed to? What type of commercial retail would be planned for the commercial slots?
Well, we plan to construct a building that will attract either a retail, office, institution, or a combination thereof. So the rendering and design that we're going to bring forth will allow for some combination thereof, or like I said, retail, office, or institutional.
Okay, that's all I have at this time.
All right, there's no other emails. Then we can move on to the next case.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. See you at the Planning Commission.
Yes, sir.
Next case, Z2110, CV21004, and U21005. I know this will be a quick one too. A rezoning concurrent variance, you got ahead of me. Rezoning concurrent variance and use permit at 5371 Old National Highway. And as we've seen, next slide, please. The petitioner has withdrawn this application as well. This is going to be for a gas station on Old National that is going next to I believe it's a Captain D's. But they're going to focus on just the Captain D's for right now, and the rest of the development will wait to a later time. Go to the next slide, please. And this is our last case of the night, Z21011, a rezoning at 0 Estes Drive. Next slide, please. Petitioner here is making a request to rezone from R3 to TR for the purpose of developing a townhome neighborhood. Property is currently undeveloped. The proposal is for 54 townhomes and is in compliance with the future land use map. Go to the next slide, please. The parcel here is at the end of Ravenswood Drive. I had to type in the Ravenswood address to find it, which is why I got the pin on the street. But thanks to the magical cursor, you can see that it is the undeveloped parcel in the center of the street, at the end of, or center of the page rather, at the end of Ravenswood in the corner of Estes right there. Next slide, please. The parcel is in the middle of the screen on your zoning map on the left and future land use on the right, outlined in blue, showing its current zoning and its compliance with the future land use map for the request on the right. Next slide, please. Here's the site plan for the site showing the proposed townhomes. We have the mail kiosk and parking for guests in the center left of the screen, walking trails, other amenities for the residents. And you can even see on this plan the stagger of the townhomes on the site. And with that, we will turn it over to the petitioners. Oh, I'm sorry, I have one more slide. Go to the next slide, please. These are some proposed, these are example townhomes, similar style that would be constructed. I know there has been discussions with the council member on materials and some specific architectural qualities, so those would be addressed with any conditions on the site. And I know now this is the last slide, and so the floor is the petitioners.
Hi. Good evening. So yeah, essentially, I'm sorry, this is Danielle Blumenthal from Battle Law PC, and we're representing Proterra Development, and the developer, Felipe, is on this call right now that can help answer any questions. But yeah, we had a community meeting for this matter, and essentially we're just trying to rezone to TR to rezone the almost 11 acres. Rezone to TR, excuse me. To allow for the 54 townhomes, but we're happy to answer any questions.
Is there anything that we missed in the explanation or that you wanted to add?
I don't believe there was anything missed. Felipe, I'm not sure if there's anything that you thought was missed, but on my end, I think that everything was covered well.
Okay. Any Dana Marissa, any emails that came in? I'm looking through mine right now too. Let me see here.
Okay, I do have Atlanta real estate lady. Are the proposed amenities suitable? Will the streets be wide enough for mail delivery and parking?
I will give an emphatic yes to that. We've been dealing with parking issues and mail deliveries in other townhome developments, and so we are very cognizant of those concerns.
What is the retail price point and who is the target market?
So the starting price would be in the mid 200,000 range. So starting at about $250,000. The target would be, empty nesters. These are smaller units, so not necessarily gearing towards like larger families, anything like that. More so young professionals and empty nesters.
Okay, what provisions will be made to preserve and utilize green space?
Well, we'll be following any requirements in the ordinance as far as preserved space, and we'll be respecting all of those requirements.
Marissa, would you flip back to the site plan, please, just so we can have that on the screen if we're answering questions about the green space? Yeah, thank you so much. So there is
quite a bit.
Yeah, I will add, I know that there have been discussions with the council member about this site. So the proposal here has gone above to include some of those amenities and specific characteristics that the council member asked for.
Okay, I have questions from Sonia Patterson. First off, does Proterra have the ability to suggest developments as designated by the city's existing zoning guidelines, or does Proterra feel the need to continually request for zoning amendments which are put into place to take into consideration the needs of the constituents and the ecology of the area that benefit the developer?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So I think there's a few a few points in that. So one, I think that Proterra is doing a wonderful job of trying to preserve some of the open space there. As you can see on the plan that's open now, there's quite a bit of green space. There's a walking trail, a children's play area, and there's a lot of the non-build zones and the buffers as well. As far as needing to rezone, the development costs are quite high right now, as I'm sure a lot of people on this call understand. And to make it financially feasible, they really need some more units in this plot of land to make it possible, really.
Okay, the next statement and question is, I am sure there are other areas that are so designated TR that Proterra can consider, which, if our planning committee has done its job, ensure that traffic studies, impact studies, et cetera, are already done to justify townhouse residential density. What accommodations will be put in place to ensure that green space is preserved properly?
Not entirely sure how to answer that question. I will just say again, there is quite a bit of green space on here, and my client, Proterra, they're very willing to work with the community and to address, if there are any recommendations from traffic engineers, anything like that. More than happy to work with them and to preserve any of the land that's possible. And yeah, we're more than willing to work with everyone, but I don't think that there have been any actual issues that have come up in that area. There have been a few concerns from community members, but we are working to address any of those issues.
Okay, the next statement and question would also like to know more about the amenities. What amenities will be provided in the children's play area? Will there be a pool?
That is a wonderful question. I don't believe that I can personally answer the question of the pool. I don't believe there will be a pool, but please don't quote me on that. I can do my best to find out right now, but I do not believe that. But again, I am not saying that as a fact.
Okay. And what about the width of the streets? We already have a lot of issues within neighborhoods where residents park overnight on the streets and make it difficult for other residents and service vehicles to safely pass.
Yeah, I will address that one. Again, I know that we have had a lot of concerns lately about parking and mail delivery and emergency vehicle access. So the streets in new townhome developments are certainly under there's a lot of eyes on those right now. So we are certainly mindful of those concerns. Everything is built to required spec. Everything passes inspection by the fire marshal. On this particular plan, I would make note of all the extra guest parking that is included. That is one of the aspects that the council member insisted on, and one of the changes that staff has been working with all developers to make sure is sufficiently incorporated to avoid some of the challenges that we have seen in existing developments.
Great. The next question is, what is the planned setback for these properties? The units look very close to the road. Can we ensure that the units are set back enough to provide driveways long enough to assure parking on the property and not on the streets?
Let me also address that one. And Danny, if you have, there very well could be a setback listed on part of the plat that I cut off to make it fit on the slide. I would just address the sides of the driveways. Again, that is something that we are very cognizant of because of the parking issues that we have seen in townhome developments. And so, yes, the driveways would be long enough to have 2 additional cars. So each home would have 2-car garage, at least two driveway spaces for cars just by themselves. And then again, there are guest spaces. And as you can see, some of the units have longer driveways, but each townhome would have at least 4 parking spaces just for that townhome.
Okay, our next question is, what is the sale price target for these homes and who are the target market for these units?
Okay, yeah, I answered this question a few minutes ago, but
Yes,
the starting price for the units would be $250,000 in that range, and the target resident or the target tenant, I guess, would be empty nesters, not necessarily larger families, but maybe a small family, empty nesters, or young professionals. It will be, an upscale product. So we do expect it to be some type of professional.
Okay, and a question from Michael Venable, and forgive me if I didn't hear the answer. I'm searching through the emails for questions and comments. What is in the clubhouse?
The clubhouse. I cannot answer that question. Is there a clubhouse? I don't believe that there is a clubhouse. There is a gazebo, a community garden, additional open space. There will be a children's play area and community trails. That will be the amenity, all the amenities in this community
Okay.
or in the proposed community.
And that concludes the comments on my side, unless Marissa has anything or Nathan.
I don't have anything else. Marissa, did you say anything else in yours?
I don't remember if we read the comment from Bonnie Jones. It says, what about traffic? The area is inundated with residential and very crowded, extremely opposed. Did we read that one?
I had not heard that one. What I would say is that all projects are reviewed by the city's traffic engineer, and so the capacity of the streets is most certainly taken into consideration with all projects that we do, or that are permitted, rather. All right, and if that's the end, we can go to the next slide.
Wonderful, thank you.
You're very welcome. Go to the next slide. And as always, I want to thank all of our residents and all of the internet for listening to us tonight, or whenever you get around to listening to this presentation on your own time. Thank you all so much and have a wonderful evening.
Thanks. Have a good evening.